This one is too small. This one is too big. This one is just right. Or is it?
Here she is. A friend of mine said he had an old three-wheeler he would trade me for fixing a hole in his boat. And I said, deal. Didn't know anything about it, other than it had been sitting for 23 years and the tires were flat. I knew it was a Honda ATC 1986 200X. Kind of a desirable little model in my mind. It's kind of the do-it-all machine of the three-wheeler world. 4-stroke, air-cooled, disc brakes front and rear, good suspension, and it's really in good shape. And I just opened this up, and I didn't get lucky enough to have the user manual and toolkit in there, but that's okay. It was my friend's grandpa's, and then my friend used it to chase cattle around, and then they parked it. I think it was either between 18 and 23 years ago, and it sat in a shed ever since. His grandpa made this little rack that's kind of ingenious. Plastics are busted. Seat's in pretty good shape considering its age. The fuel in here is probably non-ethanol fuel. This machine's going to clean up really nice. Bent levers. That one's not so bad. I always have grand ideas of going all out and fixing these things up, my projects, but look at the tire plugs in this thing. That one's getting an inner tube. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'll do the general maintenance. I'll fix anything that's broken. I'm going to slime the heck out of the tires, see if they hold air, and then we'll go from there. Brake pads are about half worn. Wouldn't be surprised if these are original tires, and that's the original chain and sprocket. That's really not all that much wear if you're wearing boots. It's a 6-speed. I mean, heck, kind of awesome.
I fill the tires up and they hold air for a surprisingly longer amount of time than I thought.
Well, I just filled this up with air, and we already have quite a few leaks, little tiny ones. Slime will fix that. We're going to give this a once over in the light, but man, those forks look in good shape. This is warped but not broken. These are totally cracked. I don't know if it's even seized up or not. Pretty sure that's not supposed to be. I would think that this goes forward. Yep. That's interesting. So before I mess with that, I'll check the oil without busting it. Okay. That's stuck on there. I'll need the pliers. Throttle's stuck. Brakes work. Looks like there was another handbrake over here or something. Clutch pulls. That's surprising. Suspension is cush. It's going to be a pillow top ride, everybody.
Now for the moment of truth. Will it turn over? Yep, it moves. That's a good sign. When I checked the oil, I noticed it smelled like gasoline, and that's because over the course of 23 years, a tiny bit of gasoline had been weeping past the float needle because the petcock was on, and draining into the cylinder head, which then weeped past the rings and filled up in the crankcase. That's not very bad for 23 years, all things considered, so I'm going to change the oil. Now let's tear into this thing and get familiar with it. Off camera, I repaired the plastics and I soaked the carburetor in an ultrasonic cleaner and cleaned up the throttle cable. The coyotes are pretty well learned in these parts. I'll have to find some elsewhere. But first, it's time to get up this hill. I'm taking it easy to properly test the limits of torque and traction. I'm actually pretty impressed for 200 cc's in old worn tires. Any ham-fisted Neanderthal can hold it wide open and let momentum do the work. It's fun to play around with old toys, and this three-wheeler is no exception. Whether you're chasing cattle, running down to the mailbox, hooning with your friends, hunting, or just out for a Sunday stroll, this will get you there. Whether it's 70 cc's or 350, there's no need to puff out your chest, arch your back, or bare your teeth to show where you stand. Roll up on one of these and people already know. A relic of a brief period in time where people were more concerned with living than preserving life. So the question is, where does this fit in? Well, it doesn't, and that's okay. It just is what it is.